There aren't many guarantees in the barn, but we've got one you can count on. Order any of our Smart supplements in Smart Packs and we'll guarantee you'll see results or we'll give you your money back. Supplements that are guaranteed to work. We took care of that too.
Hi, my name's Joe Schmidt. I'm the owner of Schmidt Reining Horses here in Pilot Point, Texas. We specialize in open futurity, derby horses, non-pro coaching, 2-year-olds, sales, and pretty much everything you want to do with a reining horse. We got a good question sent in from Samantha Bailey, very common. Her question was, how do I get my horse to stay in the spin? It's a very common problem that most reiners face. It's one of those things that a lot of people try to keep their horse in the spin rather than creating the horse's desire to stay in the spin on its own. One of the main things that people will do, and I'll kind of show you, when they're having trouble keeping that horse in the turnaround is they end up doing all the work themselves. So if I ask my horse to spin and I can feel that he might want to leak out of that turnaround, a lot of people will be holding their horse in, pushing a leg, looking down, and trying to do all the work to where as soon as they let go, that horse falls out of the turnaround and just walks off. So he ends up to where he's not really doing the turn on his own or by himself. Okay, to determine what his understanding of my cues are in that turn and to see which part of my cues he's not understanding is I'm going to try to do as little as possible to initiate this turnaround to diagnose, like I said, the problem or his lack of understanding in my cues. So when I check to see if the horse wants to stay in the turnaround, and I'm really checking to see how solid my maneuver is, I'm going to use as little cueing as possible. I know that if I pull on the reins a lot or get him just right and open my leg just right, then I could probably get him to turn around decent. But I really want to try to see how dummy-proof I can make this maneuver, okay? So when I start out, and I know full well that he's probably not going to make a very good turn, and we already know he's already thinking about leaning forward or walking out of the turn, I'm just going to be as quiet as I can to see how little I can do to make him start the maneuver. So we'll try him. I'm going to draw my rein across here. He's kind of thinking about starting. I'll just keep pulling, bump my leg a little bit right there, then put my hand back, and I'm going to wait until he either stops or walks forward. So he's wanting to stay in this turn pretty good. He knows this drill. So what I'm going to do is try to get to where he'll leave that turn. I might shake my hand. I might lean to the outside. Might lean to the inside. So say if I lean to the inside and he stopped right there. Right here I would bump my leg again, bump my leg. There he's kind of going to, there he picked up the spin. He thought about walking forward a little bit, but then he came back in and turned on his own. Okay, I'm going to stop him here in a second. Whoa. Okay, so right there he started that turn pretty good. As you can see, if I move around, he stays in it pretty darn good. I'm going to try even less on this other side. Okay, I'm going to be kind of real relaxed with my start. There he goes in that turn good. Now, if your horse, he's staying in there pretty darn good. What your horse is probably going to do is this. We'll go to start, and he just walks out. So right here, I'd pull on him into that turn, then drop my hand back. Wait for him to make a mistake. Okay, he's turning pretty good. I'm going to try to get him to make a mistake and stop maybe. There I lean to the outside. He stopped, so I know he's going to stop, so I'm going to bump my leg light, bump it again. Now he's kind of backing up. I bumped him again. There he found the turn. Okay, so now I'm going to see if I can push him forward. Maybe he'll walk out. There he walked out, so I'll pull on the reins. He broke rule number 1. I pull on the reins till he gets back in the turn and then turn him back loose. Let him turn around and not do anything. I'm not pulling on the reins. I'm not kicking my leg, not clucking. Whoa. So I established that anytime he walks forward, I'm going to pull on him. Anytime he stops, I'm going to kick on him. As long as he keeps turning in one spot, then I'll just not do anything and just sit up there. So since we established walking forward is not an option for the horse, anytime he walked forward, we pulled on the reins and pulled him back into that turn. And anytime if he stopped, we bumped our leg until he kept going. When we make these two corrections, you want to try to be as slow as possible with your hands because you know full well the mistake he's going to make every single time. So you don't want to, if your horse, say your horse stops, say I'm turning around like this, say he's cruising around there pretty good, and then he just stops, okay? I'm not going to haul off and kick him really, really hard and scare him, okay? I'm going to kick him as light as possible and then be able to kick him a second time, maybe a third time, so that he doesn't freak out anytime that he stops. I already know that he's going to make a mistake, so I don't want to yell at him when he does make a mistake, okay? Same thing with my reins. I know that he wants to leave that turn. He's always doing it, okay? He always leaves and he always stops. So when I feel him walk out, I'm not going to grab him right there and say, no, Cisco, don't go out of the turn. I'm going to allow him to go forward a couple of steps, then slowly pull my reins back towards my pocket in the same area that you would if you were to start. Okay, if I start my horse and I draw my rein across, when I go to make that correction and he goes to walk out, I'm going to want to draw my hands that same way, kind of smooth, until I feel that horse think about stepping into the turn. Okay, I'm not going to, if he walks out, I'm not going to grab him real quick and scare him or anything. That might make him stay in the turn, but it's going to put a little bit of a nervous spot in there. I don't want him to be afraid to make a mistake. Okay, since I'm not using so many cues to keep him into the turnaround, and I know that he's going to make that mistake, I want to be as slow as possible and methodical as possible as I can with my correction. Another exercise I'll do when I'm trying to create the desire for the horse to stay in the turnaround and maybe even get his feet moving a little bit faster is if the horse continually wants to keep walking out of that turn, I might let the horse come out of the turn and then make it a little tougher on him to be out of the turn. I might bridle him up, push him up into their face with my feet, trying to keep them real straight. Make this to where this is harder than them just staying in the turnaround on their own and just stepping. I'm not going to punish them when they're out here. I'm just going to work them a little harder. Okay? Try to do a little bit more, liven up their feet. Then I'll come back down and maybe offer that turnaround as a reward and just let him turn. And you see here, I've given him the reins. I'm allowing him to either walk forward or stop. So right here, I might, again, try to bait him to stop and make that mistake. He's staying in there pretty good. Say that I felt like he was walking out of it rather than stopping him. I'll maybe push him out of it. Say, all right, yeah, go for it. Go ahead and go out of this turn. Okay, and then I might trot him up into his face again, teach him that when he leaves that turn, it's a lot more work than just staying in. Might trot him around here a little more, then release my hands and let him start turning again. Again, this whole time when I'm turning, I'm not trying to keep him in the turnaround. I'm trying to find the spot to make him stop turning so I can correct him. But as long as he's staying in this turn, I can't correct him. I can't break the rule. Whoa. Okay, so I'll just say, all right. So when you're trying to keep your horse in the turnaround, just remember the rules that he has to follow. Anytime he leaves the turn, we're going to pull on him, add some pressure. If he stops turning, we're going to add some pressure with our leg. So that anytime he's in that turnaround, we're not doing anything and he's doing the maneuver himself and he's happier in the turn than he is outside of the turn. If you determine that there's a different problem in your turnaround, send us a question and we'll try to help you out.